Having challenges and adding Amy. Okay, so today we were talking about storytelling for craftsman processes and voices, and Gamey has let us in into what storytelling is about, and he has also told us how to start the storytelling processes. I'm trying to accept your request actually. It's not working. The network is terrible. Uh,
Okay. All
just
right.
when I was about to give up.
Uh, okay. I think that this tonight network has really showed us.
It has. It has. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get on with it. So I need to know, based on what you've said so far, you've shown us how we can actually start the storytelling act, which is have clarity of vision of how you want to, what the way you want your script to be, and
Mm,
then work towards capturing it, because it is important for your marketing, for marketing, and also reaching the audience that you want. So depending on
yes.
what you want to tell the audience,
Mm,
then you decide on the script that you want to write. So my next question is very simple, which is
oh,
what's what's the I know okay that I've been told a number of times, including in my class, in my
mm,
design class, that when you want to advertise, you have to focus on something. Like you
Yes.
must not focus on the full brand. You
Everything.
have to focus on
No.
the message, focus on a tagline. You have to focus on, like, you have to really, really streamline your focus. But sometimes we need to understand what's the importance of this to our productivity and our brand. Because if, okay, let's take for instance, if let's see, maybe a pepperish food brand now wants to advertise, and then they just put their pepper-ish. Okay, let me use this. They did it Mexican chili salsa Doritos, and then they just put Doritos. It is hot. Like, what does that do to the productivity? Like, what's the correlation? So what's the correlation with storytelling and our money? Like, we just want to make profit. What correlation does it have?
Well, so it does connect because the moment you said peppery, what came to my head is hot, 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 right? Because that word in itself is very, very specific. And the people who love that particular thing, it attracts them. It expressly tells them what that product is about. And so they know that this is my preference. This is what I like. So they know that they are going to get what they want if they go for that product, right? I think I painted an example the other time that okay, you maybe you make coffee, like you you have a coffee shop,
Mhm.
right? And you want to sell that product to people, coffee. Now, instead of you coming up and saying that, hey, I'm a coffee shop, that kind of thing, you don't go to that because you will turn people off. Now, you are a coffee shop. Yes, your goal is to sell coffee. Yes, but what are you going to sell to people? Okay, I have a coffee shop. And in my coffee shop, right, it's a community. It's a family thing we've got going on here. When you come to this shop, it is homely, right? The colors, the seating arrangements, it conveys comfort, right? That is what people see. So naturally, they can come with their friends, they can chill, and of course, have coffee. Do you get me? So you
Mm.
are going to you're not you're selling something beyond just the coffee. The coffee is your end goal, but you've also given me a reason because I can just walk to a guy can be standing by the roadside and he will just mix it up and give it to me, right? But why should I come to your
Mm.
shop? I'll come to your shop because I'm going to be comfortable. I can drag my laptop along. I can answer one or two, like I can check one or two emails, and then I can get my coffee. I can have conversations with people. Those are the things that you sell to
Mm.
people. That is the reason why they will pick
Mm.
you over every other person. So those are the things that attract people. Now I'm still on the matter of being a coffee shop, and you start with um, brown is my favorite color, and you wonder why? Because the earth is brown, and on the earth is where you find beautiful green crop that produces life,
Mm.
nourishes my body. It is this brown, this rich brown earth that gives me that. That's why I like the color
Mm.
brown. And inside this brown, you find minerals, you find riches, wealth, because minerals translates
Mm.
to riches, wealth. These are the reasons why I love brown. No wonder I love coffee
Why this
because
smelling the
coffee
coffee?
is brown. Do you see? So you tie that with this and that, and you end up at coffee. So somebody that is listening is like, what's wrong with this one? That like, well, yeah, he has made a few valid points. Well, the earth, yeah, things are planted, the crop, it gives food, yeah, brown, okay. And then brown, yeah, the earth riches, the land is, and then you say, no wonder, coffee is also brown. And that is the reason why I love it. So you've successfully tied with that before you end up at coffee. But also, you see, this now because we've had a few interruptions. I mean, I've had to jump. Now, you see that when you're starting a story, your hook is very, very important. Your intro is very, very important. And that is why I started with brown is my favorite color, right? And then I give you reasons why brown
Yeah.
is my favorite color
Mm.
before I bring it into coffee being brown and coffee being my favorite drink. Duh, because I love brown. Do you get? So that is how you
Yeah.
tell your story in ways that can appeal to an audience. And you sell that thing to somebody and they're like, ah, well, you make quite a few points. I actually feel like grabbing a cup of coffee, right? So that is how it is. You've given um a hook that attracts, and then the next thing is now to align it with your message, right? You align it with your
Yeah.
message. Now you have to have a structure, which is the third thing, right? And then you have to use visuals and all these other things, all these other aesthetics to be able to sell the things that you have. But really, these are the different parts of how your story should come together so that it is compelling when people listen to it, so that it is convincing, it is believable when people hear it, right?
Mm. So do you think that craftsmanship in Nigeria and Africa are really poor in telling their story? I feel like craftsmen are not
Mm.
are not owning their voices. I feel like we have so much richness that we haven't sold that to ourselves, surplus or to other parts of the world. Do you think the same?
I do, yes, I quite agree with you. And I think it is because of the fact that exposure is one of the major issues here, right? A lot of craftsmen are, are raw talent. They get the job done, right?
Yeah.
And they have sort of accepted that, okay, as long as I get the job done and I get paid, right? Due to lack of exposure, they've just accepted that. But the moment
Mm.
they begin to open up, because that is that's part of the things that you have to do. You open up because you need to see yourself that, okay, I go by the term craftsman, but I am in business, and business has its demands, right? Business must have strategy, right? So what is my strategy, right? How do I go from here to there? Because at the end of the day, that is what you are in business for. You want to reach your target audience. You want to gain competitive advantage. You want to take advantage of the various factors that are available to you, whether external or internal. These are the things that
Yeah.
you bring together in order to put you at the fore. So, what should a craftsman do? A craftsman should take it a step further. Document your processes. It sounds, maybe the word documenting is sounding too complex. The things that you do, right? Find a way to talk about them, right? I think I've come across quite a number of TikTok videos and videos on here where craftsmen really talk about the things that they do. So they'll tell you that, this is how we put. So communicate in the language that you're most comfortable with, because your audience is out there and they fit into different classes, right? So, in the most authentic way, deliver your message to people. Tell them the reason why you go for a particular material, a particular style, and why you use it. If it is more durable, let them know. If it is value for money at the end of the day, let them know. If it is premium, let them know. If it is affordable and durable, let them know. So just You have to talk about the things that you do, because if you don't talk about the things that you do, the world has gotten to a place where showing the end product is not enough. They need to see how you arrived at the end product, because that kind
The
of,
journey.
it appeals to the heart of your customers, and it is the reason why they want to buy what you're selling. You get it? So it is just essential that we look beyond the limitations and begin to open ourselves up to to documenting and telling our stories that we have to. Hmm.
Speaking of authenticity, how do
Yeah.
you? A lot of us, we know we have our voices,
Mm.
and sometimes when you're just coming out to own that voice is a bit difficult because
Okay.
you're like, okay, if whatever I say, it has been, there's nothing I'm going to say that anybody else have not said. It's just
Mm.
maybe how I say it may be different, or who is saying it may be different, but
Okay.
it's still something that is out there. And there are times that because of our inexperience in shooting these things, can we excuse copying? Can we excuse, oh, okay, I've seen this. I should be able to do exactly the same before I can
Okay.
get my own voice.
Okay. So the thing about, I mean, there's this book that people, I mean, it shows up every now and then, still like an
You need
artist
to
or something.
feel like an artist at first.
Yeah, I
Feel
trust
like
you.
an artist.
Yes, and there's so many people that will tell you that nothing is new. Like, I mean, this creativity, like you're creating something, it's not new. What you only try to do is to take out of what is already on ground, and then you tweak it and you make it yours and you put it out there. So there are those concepts, right? There are those concepts, and it really does apply to what you're talking about, right? But you see, you must also understand that even if you're drawing inspiration from the next man, you are unique. So there is, even if you try to copy, the thing is that your unique nature will show whether you like it or not. So why not let it show, right? Don't play it down. Let it show, because that is your superpower. The fact that you are unique in the way that you think, you are unique in your processes, right? So naturally, if you are trying to do the same thing the next person has done, or probably you're trying to uh, replicate a design that you saw from somewhere, there will be different. It will not be 100% the same, right? I mean, we talk about all of this art that people try to duplicate, and you know that the professionals will always tell you that they can tell the original from the fake because the brush strokes are just you cannot get it 100%. Why? Because of the human factor. We are different, person to person. So don't dumb it down. Let it
We are.
show. Let that your unique nature, let it show. So if you see, a lot of these concepts are concepts that are borrowed because we have seen them to work, right? So naturally, when you bring it into your own field, then make it yours, right? Your voice is unique. The way you speak is unique. All of these things are unique to you. So it doesn't just
I
happen.
didn't get the last statement.
Okay, so the journey into creating content, the journey into telling stories is not it's not something you figure out in a day. It's a gradual process. So I say that uh, touching lives one story at a time. So keep at it. Like the first time you try to do it, that's one. Then you move onto the next one, onto the next one. Gradually, you will see progress. So it really has to do with you doing it again and again and again. And that is how you begin to crack what really works for you. Do you get? And you find out that sometimes you see some people, they're just doing voiceovers, right? They do voiceovers. Or you see, yeah, you see, and then voiceover became a thing. Everybody started doing it. And then you see some other persons, they just have beautiful shots that just captures and tells whatever it is that they want to tell. And they put some kind of very nice music to it, and then they put text, right? There is that. So you are going to try quite a number of things until you see what really works for you, and then you lock it in.
Speaking on music, I
Yeah.
have a big challenge trying to get the perfect music for what I want. I have it in my head. I know what I want. But at the end of
Okay.
the day, I just choose anything because having to listen to different types over and over and it's just not it. I just choose anyone. So
Okay.
is there a place where we can find the perfect music for
What you're
whatever it
doing.
is? Like, is there a place like Google now? You can just type, okay, Africa music. Is there something like
It's
that
it's it's
that we
it's
can just
right.
go
It's it's
through and look?
it's right here on Instagram. You don't need to go anywhere. It's
Are
right
you
here on Instagram.
serious?
Yes. When you take a when you
Please,
take a
when
video, when you take a
yeah,
video, I mean, you can use that as you know. So on Instagram, when you are sharing a reels or when you want to share a particular reel, there's that place where you just in the audio section you would pick a song and it just comes into your video, right? It's right there
really?
on Instagram. Yes, even maybe if
Wow.
you're trying to share a story, you click on music.
Yeah.
There's a music icon, you click on it, and then you can select any music. In fact, they will suggest music to you. And a lot of times, you see, the way it works on Instagram is that Instagram pushes there's some certain music that Instagram
What
is
you
pushing, right? So Instagram has some music that they see that it's doing really well, that kind of music. If you put it to your video, I think it helps the video. It's not like the determining factor, but at least it can
yeah.
help your video in that people are listening to that particular song, you know,
Yeah.
at that moment. So it can help. And if the video is now a very good video, you can just really work with it. But I know that sometimes, as a brand, you may really want to um, pick a different kind of music, maybe because of the kind of image that you're trying to project and all of that stuff. But I know that on Instagram, there is a library out there where you can find any kind of music that will fit into the content that you're trying to promote. Because I say Instagram because Instagram, this music is already licensed for Instagram, right? So you're not going to
Yeah.
have copyright infringements and all those things. But if you go elsewhere to pick music and you try to bring it to Instagram, they can flag you and tell you to take down your content.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so on Instagram, you will find all the music that you need for your content on Instagram.
Wow. I didn't know that.
No,
For now
it's
I
it's
know.
it's
Thank
right
you
there.
so much.
It's right there on Instagram. It's right there.
Wow. So I'm going
Hmm.
to be asking the last one. I know you said I shouldn't ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So the cinematography question. So saw on social media that um, there's a difference between
Between
cinematography and
cinematography
videography.
and videography,
Yes,
yes, there is
and
a
there's
difference
big
between.
arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, can you tell us the difference? And I know you mentioned that there's a balance to it. I would like to hear it here so that every other person can also.
Okay, so cinematography is um, a balance of the technical and the creative, right? So a lot of people use the term cinematography loosely because they feel like it makes them feel sophisticated. But cinematography is not just fun, right? You're making technical decisions and you're making creative decisions, and you're trying to fuse both
Mm.
together. In cinematography is the art and the technique of film photography, which includes, lighting, um, camera. You are creating a world. You are creating the art, right? So there's the lighting, there's the framing, there's the camera movement, all to tell a visual story, right? That's what cinematography is. You are creating. But for videography is you are recording, you are capturing something that is happening, right? Um, you are
Yeah.
capturing something that is happening. Now, there are certain similarities. Similarities in that there is camera movement. You can use light, right? You are going to edit just like you edit what you do in cinematography. Those are similarities. But for videography is like you are capturing something that is happening already. For cinematography, you are creating something, you are bringing it into existence, right? So you are going to set up your lights, get the people to, okay, roll camera, oh yeah, action, bam, and then they do it. You get. So it's not like cinematography is not involved in when capturing stuff, but cinematography is more, it leans more towards the creating, whilst videography is your capturing.
Mm.
So there are two.
Okay,
Those
so
are those are the
what we do
what you.
so what we do in storytelling
Hmm.
for our business is more of videography.
Well, it depends. Is the two. So the why I said that this question is not so that we don't make things technical is
Hello, can
that
you hear me?
yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
You can hear me. Okay, so what you're
Yes,
trying to
I can.
do is your main goal is to tell stories. That's what you're trying to do. And cinematography or videography can serve that same purpose. Do you get me? But the
Yeah.
issue is that one might require more than the other. Do you get? So you, as the business owner, you know what your goal really is. So that is what will inform on which of the two fits right into your vision, right? So let me say that cinematography is much more elaborate because it involves an entire team. You have the gaffers, the people who handle the light. You have an entire team. You have so much to put to do cinematography. But videography is like a one man show, right? Just grab that camera and start shooting, right? It's not like it doesn't have other parts, but it is not as detailed as cinematography. You get. So like I said before, if you're trying to achieve this, right,
Yeah.
you really need to look at it. Okay, cinematography might cost you 10 times more than you will spend
Sure.
if you used another means. You get. So those are some of the things that makes them different. But your goal is that you want to capture and tell your stories to connect with your target audience. So use the tool that works the most. And there's something that a lot of filmmakers know is a term that we use. We say that the best camera is the one you are holding, which is to
Speaking
say that
speaking
use
of the best
use
camera,
yes is the one that you
speaking
are
of the
holding.
best camera is the one you are holding. Now, some of
Yes.
us are not holding the best camera. So,
But it is the best
what
camera.
type? Yeah, right. So, what type of camera would you advise? Because I've seen cameras and I've used cameras and I've used cameras. There's some
Hmm.
cameras I'm like, oh wow, and there's some cameras I'm like, ah, God. So in such situation, in such situation, what cameras would you advise? Like, would you advise we save up for a proper camera, or this is something a phone can do?
It's something a phone can do. Use a phone. A phone.
What a
That is
phone
your best.
can
That's your best guy right now. If like as it is now, phones, what phones are able to do now? In
do?
fact, some DSLR cameras are not able to really do it. Especially why? Especially because you are sharing to social media, you are sharing to IG, you are sharing. You don't need something that massive, right? So with an iPhone, with an Android phone, right? I think what we should just talk about is maybe the camera app that you should be using, because there are some camera apps that max
Okay.
your 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 what's it called? That max your
The
your
flow.
phone your phone camera. Like it really helps you get good quality, right? So if you had an iPhone, there is Blackmagic Blackmagic camera app. There is Final Cut camera app. Those are two very good camera apps that you can use besides the iPhone camera app itself. Those are two camera apps that you can use. They are easy to learn. If you just watch a YouTube video, you can learn from how to use those camera apps. So there's Blackmagic camera app and there's Final Cut camera app. Those are very good apps that you can use. And I hear that Blackmagic, as of this week, has come to Android phones, right?
Oh wow.
So you can go on your Play Store and search. Although I heard that it is only available on Samsung, point of correction, it's only available on Samsung and Google Pixel phones for now, right? I
Interesting.
don't know if they have plans to make it available to every other phone, but it's on Samsung phones and Google Pixel phones, right? So the Blackmagic camera app is a good app and it can help you capture videos in a very good
So
way. But I know that
what for Android?
for Android, yeah. For Android, yes.
Yeah,
So
apart from
other apps,
Black Magic.
Blackmagic, okay. On Android, there are quite a number of apps. I can't remember them right now, but I know that even your camera app on your Android phone should be able to do, because it it's gonna get. So it depends on how, like, I think if you buy some of these recent phones within the last 2 years, it's going
Yeah.
to really perform. Yeah, phones within the last 2 years will give you something decent that you can use to tell your stories. So I believe that from there you can start, and then as you grow, you can begin to then get more sophisticated gear, right, for your work. But I think you should just start with what you have. As a matter of fact, your story, people are much more interested in your story when they see how you rise, right? Sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like some brands just they miss the audience when they go and they try to do some big thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the audience is like, ah, yeah, I cannot afford this product, too, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you really want to be sincere with where you are at and focus on the audience that's supposed to be getting the stuff that you're offering, right? Then grow from there. Grow from there. So play the long game. That is what the real thing is. Play the long game. And in time,
Mm,
you will come to uh, the kind of clientele that
mm.
you really want.
Okay, so I think I have one more question to ask. So is there a platform apart from the usual social media platform? Is there a
Yeah.
platform to share this storytelling? Is there a platform where we can put it and it will translate to profit making for us? A special platform that we may have overlooked or we may not even know about.
Well,
Okay, I
the
have one more
platforms.
question, but yeah.
Okay, can I go ahead and answer this one? Okay,
Yes,
so the
please.
thing is that there are very many platforms, right? There are very many platforms. But the platforms that I know that are very, very common, you know, is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, um, um, Pinterest, um, um, which one? I've mentioned Twitter, Threads, right? Those platforms are more than enough to get you started. So I think the issue is that you need to be able to grow, right? Because I don't think there is any platform out there where you post something and it just becomes money. No. What your goal is that you want to keep posting and be consistent. And then gradually people begin to notice. And as they begin to notice, they begin to follow. And as they follow, they get more interested in what you're doing. You can also use that to really tell if you're on the right track. That are people really noticing what you're doing? Are they giving you feedback? Right? Are they telling you that, hey, okay, this thing looks really good? Are they showing any interest whatsoever? That is a way you can judge if you are on the right track on the platforms that you are on right now, right? So those are the things that you need to
Yeah.
look into. When you start from there, naturally, you don't even need so many other platforms because it can be challenging to handle. Some people, Instagram alone is too much to deal with.
Sure,
You get?
sure.
So all you need to do is channel all your energy into one place. Create content that are very good, very well put together, compelling, hits the target, and keep it consistent and see where it goes. See where it goes.
Okay, so before I ask the question I remembered I wanted to ask, I have another question, which is the the this business beyond skills.
Hmm.
We've not started putting out in terms of advertising or sharing any storytelling in terms of this. What would you advise? Like, what kind of storytelling script are we going to put out there that connects with business beyond skills? Like, it's not for me. I can't, like, it's not so straightforward in my head. So it's quite okay. Maybe you tell me that one privately.
Yeah,
So let me
we'll do
ask.
that. Okay. All right.
Let me ask the question that I wanted to ask. So
Okay.
let's talk on documentaries. I
Okay.
think I have always had a flair for watching, not for telling, for watching documentaries. Like, I love documentaries,
Hmm.
and sometimes when I watch documentaries, I'm like, this is something that is needed. More people should do documentaries, especially for because it elevates stories. It elevates things that you would normally not read out there. You would normally not see out there.
Yeah.
It goes into the vein of
Mm.
of things,
Yeah.
and I feel it's missing. What does it take to go into documentary? Like, this is beyond products now. This is
Hmm.
sitting down, telling your story, and then connecting with those out there. Because for craftsmanship, let's bring it to craftsmanship. For craftsmanship, that started my craftsmanship, I there was not many people out there doing it, and it was entrepreneurship was very new then. It was very, very new. The word was not out there. It was not abused. It was really new. And but it was because I saw those that were doing it. Like, I because for me, I usually go beyond what I'm seeing. Like, I look at their lives, I look at how they are weaving, art making and stuff like that, how they are knitting, the way they are so engrossed in it. Like, there was just this. aura of life. And I feel like that is missing now because what we see right now is okay, we are selling our product and stuff. What about the young ones when how they grow up? Like what I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like the young ones should be able to connect with us
Mm,
beyond the facade of limelight. Because what we are selling
okay.
now is limelight. What we are selling is the glitz.
So,
What we are selling is
mm,
the beauty.
mm-hmm.
But there is more to it. There's the putting your hands in the mud. There's the dirtiness.
Yeah,
And
yeah, roll up
the
your sleeves. Mm-hmm.
real yes, the real story
Mm-hmm.
is in that dirtiness. So how do we go back to documentary? Are there so many people like you? And if there are not, what do you say to those that may have a flair for it that could and should join you in this journey?
Okay, so I think that, you see, it just depends on how we look at it. Documentaries are actually cost effective and easy. You see, documentaries are not like this other type of content that you try to control things. For documentary actually is take it as it is, right? Just like you said, that it's not glamorous, right? You are in the mode, you are capturing the process, you want to show every bit of it. Now, the content that you find on here, on mostly all these platforms like Instagram and the likes, those are short form contents, right? Because you know that attention span is waning and all these things. So we craft those contents for that purpose. But documentaries can be lengthy, and documentaries are targeted at people who have similar interests. They are the ones who will sit with it because they want that information. Do you get? So
Yeah.
it's always important to understand the particular content that you are creating. That is crucial, right? So you know that, okay, I'm trying to sell this product, so I need to do a kind of content that does that. Now, I'm trying to do a documentary that shows you, okay, how does um, a cow find its way to a family spot, right? So it means that I
Yeah.
will go to the source of that cow. If it's coming from up north, I will go north and speak with those people. They will tell us probably when the cow was born, how many months, how many years it's been there, what it feeds on daily. We will capture all of that, right? We will speak with the
Yeah.
headers and they will tell us, they'll give us all that information. Then we will travel down, right? If the if that's part of what we're trying to detail, we will travel down with this particular cow down to Lagos here. So we will talk about, okay, how the commute is, what is transportation like, right? And then we come bring it all the way down to Lagos here to show you where the cow gets to, who buys the cow, what is the chain like, and then show you how that cow gets sold in the market and the family that buys it, and maybe Salah is happening, and then or whatsoever occasion it is, and then we show you the end product, how it gets into the pot, and how a family sits around the table and they dish it out. Now, this kind of information may not be for the general public. The general public may not necessarily be interested in this, though they might find it interesting, so it might have that appeal. But it may be that there is a dreamer who wants to go into such a business. He is the one that is the real target. He is the one that's going to watch that documentary from start to finish because he wants to understand how that chain works. Right. That is the purpose of documentary. Documentaries help us preserve history, right? And it is not glamorous. It is not supposed to be. Do you get me? So a lot of times, a part of the challenges is that a lot of people, people are driven for different uh, by different things. Some people money plays. a very, very important role. And maybe if there's nobody that is funding such a work, it may not really fly. Do you get me? So those
Mm.
are the things to look at. But if you are in an industry and you care so much about that industry, then you probably want to invest in documenting some processes in that industry so that you have something to hand over to the upcoming generation, right? So that is why it's important. Now, why I say documentary does not have to be glamorous, it doesn't have to be, so a documentary does not require the best of equipment or this cinematography to say,
Mm-hmm.
documentary, that kind of documentary, what works better for it is videography. You get a very, very dedicated team, slim team, can go out there to get this information and document the process from start to finish, right? So I'm saying that to say that the business owners themselves, just by having their phones and having these little recording devices, they can document the process themselves. It is just okay, taking interviews about it, capturing how the cow goes from one point to the other. As a matter of fact, they are in the best position to document it because they do that business. You get me? So
Yeah. So would you advise that craftsmen should go an extra mile to document their processes?
absolutely, absolutely. That's the gospel I've been preaching since. It is at this point. It is absolutely important for them to do that because it is a way to, like I said, preserve history, document these processes so that they can hand over these practices to other people. You can even document best practices, right? So that people know, people don't have to try so
Mm.
many other things and fail at it. They can just easily look at how you have arrived at your results and follow that, and then they move on. So I think that it is just the best way to go.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kami.
Yeah,
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Like,
Hmm.
we learned so much today, and I really really learned a lot. So I'm just going to recap everything you've said in about a minute,
Okay.
and we'll close for today. I'm hoping that this will be the last of it, and when we're going to have you next, there will be better network.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to do more of this. We're going to do more of this. So we spoke. The topic for today is storytelling of craftsmanship, processes, and voices, and we started with talking about the appreciation for the craft and the need for visuals. The reason we have to do storytelling is because there is need for visuals. People need to see what you're doing to actually be able to key into it. And you mentioned that every business needs storytelling that lingers, that tells stories that linger. Like the example you gave of coffee, anytime it rains, because when it rains there's a smell.
Hmm.
So anytime it rains, I'm going to think of coffee. And then when I think of coffee, I'll think of gaming. So it's that it's that link now. And it's because you gave the story. If not, there'll be no relation. So one thing I learned in that is try to relate your story to everyday living, like something people see every day, something that has no that may not have any relation with whatever it is you're doing, but can be linked to it, so that whenever they see that thing, they think of you. So whenever we see a sauce, we think of Maggie. Maggie is not the name of it. It's not the name. It's not sauce. It is
Hmm.
the name of a sauce, but
Hmm.
we all call it Maggie because that's what we think of. That's the first thing we think of when we say no. Or when we see what other thing, like you get the point. So
Yeah.
basically always relate your story to an everyday life situation. It's something that is common, and I think it's one of the things that the evil part of the world has really they've owned it. You know, when you think of rainbow now, you think of something else. When you think of gay, you think of something else. When the true meaning is happy. So, like you have to learn that these people know what they are doing, and
Yeah.
you can't overrule or underrule the truth of the matter, which is always relate whatever it is you're saying, whatever it is you want to tell people with what they will see every day, the basic things. There's this person that called herself R. When I heard the name, that HER, I was impressed. I was like, why didn't anybody think of it? Why? Because when you think R now, you think R. Like so it's simple, but it's very profound. So I'm going to take that I'm going to take that lesson, and your stories should entertain, it should inform, and it
Mhm.
should be a form of feedback. Always build your stories based on whatever your customers feedback to you. You also mentioned that storytelling is a way to tell why, and is a way to inspire people, to let people know what inspires you, and to make them invested in you. Then you went on to talk about clarity of vision, which is you have to understand what you want to gain from your storytelling. There will be different purposes. So understand that before you even start saying the story. What is
Yeah.
the point of this story that you want to tell?
Mm.
That would help you inform, that will inform your script to help you know which and which is important. And in talking about script, you mentioned hook, which is important. Your hook and your
Yes.
intro,
Mhm.
you said, is very important. In fact, when you mentioned that, I thought of, because I'm supposed to present a business plan soon, and I have this hook in my head. I'm not going to say it out before somebody will go and steal it. So I have this hook in my I have this hook in my head I'm going to start with. I hope it's going to be as I see it in my head, because sometimes it doesn't align.
Yeah, you can test it.
So
You can test
yeah,
it out with your. You can test it out on your hobby.
with my
Let him tell you.
people, yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I would try that. So yeah, have clarity of vision and make sure that, yeah, I'm going to test it out. I'm able to test it out with you. So have
Mm-hmm.
clarity of vision, and make sure that your hook and your intro is very key. It's very key. So make sure it's the point it's supposed to. Hit. Some people use comedy as their hook. I've seen that a lot, but make
Yeah.
sure it's also simple, something that will always ring in their head.
Yeah.
You also mentioned approach that informs the materials you use. And you mentioned that there are different things, there are different audiences you may want to relate with, and you may want to send a message of either comfort, luxury, affordability, depending on your market, of course. But whatever it is, know it and work with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and always ask yourself, what are you selling to people? What do you want to sell? What exactly do you want to sell? Ask yourself that question, and that answer would inform whatever it is you want to do. I've already mentioned that you should tie your selling mark to everyday things, and we went on to talking about the craftsmen and why it is that they don't share their stories out there. And you mentioned that it's because they lack exposure. So the more exposed you are, the more you know that you're supposed to share what you're doing. And because they have is technical skills, they just want to get the job done. They are raw talents. These are the things that I believe that is one of the goals of business beyond skills, to get the craftsmen to talk about these things and push them to actually tell their stories. So you mentioned that craftsmen need to think more like businessmen, not just technical men. So they need to think like I am a businessman. I'm not just a craftsman. I'm a businessman. I need to work my business like a business, not just to feed my family or to get things done. So that's very key. And we went on to speak on documentation, which is also very important to me. We should document our processes and talk about the things that we do. Because for me, as much as I love the things that we are doing right now in the economy, I also would want a situation where we leave something for those that are coming after us. Because what we are riding on right now is what was left for us. And if we don't leave anything behind, it's sad
Yeah.
because whether we like it or not, we are getting closer to dying, sadly, and excited. Each day
The
is
way you
taking us
said this,
closer to
the way you
death.
said this. Okay, okay.
So we have to understand that one day we will live. Oh. We are not as young as we were yesterday. So we are going to
True.
live, and the young ones are going to grow, and
Mm,
they are going to only go on what we leave behind. So you can decide to complain all day and say these people are not doing this, Nigeria is not good, blah blah blah. But the Nigeria tomorrow is going to be your fault. So if you're not doing anything to help that, then you're just as good as those you're complaining about. So you
yeah.
mentioned that the journey is a gradual process, and we should understand that and work with that. Very important. You mentioned the camera apps that we should use. Why you said that the best camera is the one we are
Yeah, yeah,
holding right
holding.
now. The
Yeah.
camera apps that you can use for iPhone, you have the Black Magic and you have the Final Cut. Then for the Android, you have the Black Magic, though that's for the special Android.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's well, what can we do? But I guess we also have apps, so you just go to Google and ask which one is good for. And it doesn't know because it's using iPhone and probably also using Samsung. But well, what can we do? So there are apps out there that can actually elevate your camera work. So you don't have to rely so much on the camera you're using. You can
Mm,
actually use some apps to work with it. And then the platforms to always share your stories is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, and whatever is going to come out tomorrow. But make sure that you are focusing and very key on one or two so you don't overstretch yourself or overburden yourself, because growth is key. The journey is a process. It's a process.
mm.
So take it easy. Consistency is key also. You will
Yeah.
not see results immediately. I promise you, you won't see results except if you are doing something crazy. Then you may see results immediately. But if you're doing something that is worthwhile, yes, you will not see results immediately. It will take time. So you have to be very consistent in doing whatever it is that you're doing and building on it. Documentary is cost effective. And what if you're doing anything right now? I think you need to document your processes, you need to document your voice, you need to document whatever it is that you know that is worth the light, because you are unique.
Mm,
You are you, and there is
yeah.
no other you. And this you may inspire somebody. Documentaries for those that want to be inspired, and you are the one that can inspire that person that needs to be inspired by you. And one person is a generation. So if you inspire one person, you've inspired a generation. Don't forget that. So,
Mm.
final note. Thank you. See, internet is now behaving.
Oh boy.
When we're getting to the end, it's now behaving. That's nice. So on a final note, I'm just so happy. I'm so glad I didn't give up on this. I'm so happy that this
Yeah.
actually happened. And I'm so glad you went into this gaming, because I knew you when you were a rapper, and you're still a rapper, and I always follow you. I know I've watched up to 90% of your videos, and I am always blown. I am always blown. I'm like,
Thank you.
where is this blown? Just give me half and I'll be good. And it's tell it's so God. It's so God because when you were a rapper, we didn't as much see you doing this. But now I watch you telling stories that may seem unworthy, and you make us see the wealth in those stories. And I really, really wish they're more like you. And I appreciate that craft. I appreciate what you're doing. And I celebrate you. I celebrate you
Thank you.
publicly now. And I want
Thank
to
you.
say thank you so much for honoring this because
Thank you.
I know you're a busy man, but you've honored me, you've honored us. Moving forward, I hope that when I'm telling my stories, it will not be like, oh my God, what did you just do? Please go and put that down. So we so I want to say thank you. It's been a great 2 hours. I think we've
Thank
spent
you.
an hour
Thank you for
30
having
minutes.
me.
Yeah, an hour
Yeah.
30 minutes has been so great. Thank you so much for honoring. Do you have any last words for us
Oh
before you
well.
go?
First off, thank you for having me. It was a great chat. It was a great, great, great one, and I look forward to seeing the great stuff that you're going to create because I know that you're on a journey and you're discovering, you're transforming, you're changing, and I know that in the in the time to come, like in the nearest future, you're going to really birth something amazing that the world would really like see and be like, oh, okay. So you've been cooking, so let's just let you cook, right? Just cook, be
Thank
and I
you
know that
so
real soon,
much.
you do amazing stuff. So to everybody that's out there that's really like pulling their weight, trying to do stuff, just keep at it. Uh, Document your processes in the most authentic way and try to share it with people. I mean, the sky is the starting point. It
It's a
Doors can
starting
open from
point.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you can even be like you're sharing these things, and it just might bring in the right people to come connect with you, and then they take it notch, they take it up a notch because they're like, okay, we'll do the storytelling for you, and this is because what you're
Mhm.
doing has attracted us. So really,
Um,
sometimes your business will grow to a point where you will now outsource, and you have the specialists take hold of different aspects of your business, and then you can just kick back and oversee stuff. You know, so
yeah.
just keep at it. That only happens if you keep grinding. So those are my last words.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much for
much.
having
Thank you
me.
so much.
Hmm.
So don't forget to
Yeah,
like, share, follow this page.
yeah.
Our guest page is It's Gamey at It's Gamey. Please kindly follow him, and so that we can alert more people of this event. Kindly take a screenshot, share your lessons that you've learned on the social media platforms. Don't forget to tag me also at 30th NG. I really appreciate it. Till next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.